a couple of questions. Karen, I feel like when we think about the brain in the survival mode, we think like when it comes to purchasing, it's either like I need it to make me survive or I need it to help me thrive. So we're always like trying to minimize it to those two things. Do you have any suggestions on how right now we can't just also instill survival but thriving with our consumers, or with any kind of brain component to that?
Yeah. I mean, yes, great question. Yeah, I mean, just their survival, yes, that's our brain's, the brain's foundation, but it also is to thrive and to develop, right? As human beings, we naturally want to develop, we want to grow, we love to learn. But also when you think about thriving, our brains, because we are tribe folk at the end of the day, and even though we don't necessarily still survive as we used to in tribes, we still have that tribe mentality. And so that camaraderie, that thriving as a community, that thriving as one, is still really important to us. I think of Tom's Shoes, who did this miraculously, right? Buy a pair of Tom's, you give a pair of Tom's. So that sense of my purchase is actually benefiting something greater than me and benefiting the whole. So I think you can definitely play off that, which makes our brains feel like we want to buy because we're contributing more than just to a fantastic kale salad from Well Paired. We're also contributing to, when I purchase from Well Paired, they're actually partnering with Sassy Biscuit on this buffet dinner. You know what I mean? So you've already started to implement some of those community coalition building. We're in this together. We're thriving as one. And that the brain loves that. One, because we want to feel related. We like to feel a part of the tribe. But it also, to our brains, if you survive, Nicole, that helps me because you're part of my tribe, right? So you're going to help my brain survive as well.
Great. Thank you.
You got it.
Can I just add to that too? It's really important for all of you as business owners to not assume people won't buy from you or don't have the money. Let them make that decision before you disqualify them, because I think I've been through retail in 2009, 2008, 2009 with a company that went bankrupt in Los Angeles. In that same year, I was with a company that was thriving. I myself brought in $500,000 in sales in 8 months. And the difference between those businesses was not letting the storm define you, but let it refine you. And, I always say, don't blame the weather. Oh, well, it was negative 13 degrees. We didn't have any foot traffic. Those are all excuses. I think right now what I'm seeing more than any other recession, I wasn't here for the one previously to that, wasn't born, but people are wanting to support, and they're showing up, and they're giving you their money, even though there's uncertainty. And that is something that I've seen significantly shift. And like Karen mentioned, that communal, that partnership, the collaboration is key. So don't assume, keep doing your business, keep driving. I think I tell my retailers this, there's two things. There's an immediate sale that can happen right now, and that's up to you. Like, just don't stop selling. Then there's a long-term trust with your customers that you can build. Be the place where they feel safe. Now they'll come back to you forever.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on this too, because I think that was an awesome sense, Nicole, of something bigger. And we're also concerned about how we're going to make our businesses survive this impact. Maybe we're not communicating the confidence that we know we're going to be here in a year to our client, right? So if you're showing thriving rather than survive mindset, you're also quietly communicating abundance, which also communicates safety rather than scarcity, closing off, like battening down the hatches. So it's super important right now in whatever way you can. Like, if you think about humor and positivity, those are like surplus things in the human spirit, right? So like, those are things that come out of us when we're thriving. And if we can give those to the people who support our businesses in any small, tangible way, then they piggyback on that feeling. Like, oh, this business isn't just making it by. I feel confident that they're here and they're going to be here because they have it in them to abundantly give to me, and they're not giving from a place of like lockdown.
One thing with both of those things, with the thriving, we're going to get through this. Another thing that the brain trusts is consistency. So when we see something over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, we actually trust it. more, or we think of it as good. And they did a study, I think it was Stanford, let's just say it was Stanford, did a study that they basically put out a student paper, and they had an article that had some made up words in the article, and they put those made up words in the article every week. And the made up words they used more often than the made up words that were in there sporadically. The students who read that article actually believed that the definition, the meaning of those words must mean something positive versus the word that was in there every once in a while. And so if you think about that, that's why, you know, we love stores that are on social media a lot, right? Because I'm like, oh my gosh, I see Well Paired all the time. I see Linda in her cute mirror, you know, and her showing the clothes, and I start to even subconsciously trust that more. And that's something that you can do without a lot of resources, right? It's just continue to get your brand out there as much as possible. And hey, we're open. Hey, we're safe. Hey, we're here. We're in the community. We're not only surviving, but we're thriving. And our brains, the more we can see you, the more we just associate you with goodness and trust and safety.